Welcome to The Gender Rebels, a question and answer podcast that explores life outside the gender binary.
I'm Kath, a cis woman and ally.
And I'm Faith, a trans woman.
Special thank you to all our Patreon supporters. Hey everyone, I'm Kath.
And I am Faith.
Faith, do we have any patrons to thank?
We have so many patrons to thank. Thank you guys for your patience with us.
Thank you.
I want to get to our patrons. Thank you guys so much for being patrons. Thank you so much for being listeners. I had 3 surgeries in a 10-month period and a lawsuit on top of that I was dealing with, and then COVID happened.
No one is mad at you.
No, I just want to explain why Kath has been bugging me. She's like, we gotta record, and I've been, this has been a hard time for me, and I know you guys are awesome and have been so patient with us, and I just want to thank you for your patience. And
I know that you, our listeners, know this. We went all over this in Operation Faith 100. It's been a weird time for all of us. And, we all just get along as best we can.
And I just want to thank you guys, especially the patrons. Chris K, I saw you edited your pledge. It might have been up or down. I don't know. I'm going to thank you again. Either way, thank you, Chris K.
An edited pledge is still a pledge. And we love our patrons.
Yeah. Courtney L.
Thank you, Courtney.
Courtney's awesome. Madison S.
Madison S. discovered polonium.
They did?
They did.
Don't discover that.
No, they discovered it. They're in line for the Nobel Prize.
Oh, really? That's awesome. Holly S.
Holly S. discovered Californium.
Good for them.
Yeah.
Clara H.
Clara H. discovered...
Oh, I'm sorry. Sierra H.
Sierra
Or Sierra?
Sierra H. discovered Einsteinium.
Or Sierra H. She might have discovered something else. Either way, Sierra, thank you. Don L.
Don L. discovered hydrogen. Weird, huh?
Wow, yeah. Jamie L.
Jamie L. is not married to Don, although they are remotely related, and Jamie independently discovered copper.
Interesting. Kaylee H.
Kaylee H. discovered potassium, which is why potassium is a K.
That makes sense. Named after Kaylee.
Exactly.
Okay. Loker. Loewkr. Or it might be just Loker.
Yeah.
Loker.
Loker discovered wood. Hardwood, specifically.
Oh.
A lot of people don't know it's on the periodic table, but it's at the end.
Okay. Modern Art Mouth.
Modern Art Mouth discovered, fluoride.
And plastic. Pascal B.
Pascal B. Lead, PB,
Yeah. Good on you. Imagine a world without lead.
Right?
Pascal. Yeah, thank you so much, Pascal. And also discovered zinc. Without zinc, you wouldn't have firearms. And
we are big fans of zinc.
And automotive brakes.
Here at Comeback Zinc Productions.
Yes, we are.
Y'all, thank you. Really, the gratitude, there aren't words. There really aren't ways to measure this.
Well, there is the Jowett-Herkimer scale of gratitude.
Every scale you make up has Herkimer in it.
I know.
And the other day I heard about a person whose actual last name was Herkimer, and I had to pause the podcast to look up and see if there actually is a Herkimer scale. And in fact, there is not.
Okay, Herkimer comes from the movie, what was the name of it? Mystery Men. Ben Stiller and Janine Garofalo, Mystery Men movie from the late 90s. And in that movie, there's a Herkimer-class battle jitney. It's like their vehicle. It's like a battle jitney.
All right, that sounds good.
And I always just love that Herkimer. It's something
Herkimer,
to me.
that's good.
And I wrote a story. I wrote a story in a book, and it's a sci-fi YA novel. I'm still trying to get published, and it's one of the I make a passing mention to a Herkimer-class aero jitney. So. Just a little quick shout out to a movie that no one really saw, but I did and loved.
I'll watch it one day.
I watched it recently. It actually holds up pretty well.
Right, well, you should
I watched
play
it during one of my many surgical recoveries.
Ugh. nearing the end-ish, relatively, sort of.
4 months, 5 months post GRS.
How's it going? We have a question, but
incredibly well. I actually have been meaning to I've been wanting to record a video or even a solo podcast. Or even something just for our patrons.
Well, give a quick preview now of what it'll be about.
Good. Dilating's still going on. Apparently, you gotta dilate a fucking lot. And
do you love dilating?
No. It gets better over time, but it's still a lot, and it's kind of constant, and you don't escape it. Haven't missed a single dilation yet.
This is personal, and we can cut it out if you don't want it.
Yeah.
Does it still hurt?
A little bit. I'm not. I'm happy with the surgery. Super happy. I was just thinking about this when I was walking my dog. I'm like, I don't even notice, at all. I just feel normal, and I think that means I might be trans.
Wait, what?
Yeah, transgender.
Wait, gross. What does that even mean?
It means that your gender identity differs from that which you were assigned at birth. And that you have dysphoria, which is a sort of stress or discomfort from that fact.
So, I knew that all along. I was kidding. So would you say you feel a greater sense of ease and comfort with your downstairs situation? Or do you feel, let me finish the question. Yeah. Do you feel an absence of distress?
I think that before I had surgery, I went into surgery, and these were surgeries I very, very much wanted. And I went into them with this idea that surgeries will be good. But I didn't realize, I think they reduced my dysphoria a ton more than I even expected.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, I've still got to deal with some facial hair, which I can't get anything done right now because of COVID.
Hair. Oh, they're not doing laser.
They're not doing laser. They're not doing electrolysis because of COVID, and that's my last piece of dysphoria, kind of. But yeah, it's been good. Once I can get that done, I might even go to that place. I've been thinking about going to that place where you get all of it electrolyzed in one day, and your face just swells up like a basketball.
We've dealt with that before.
Yeah. So
is that a place in?
It's in Arizona or somewhere.
Oh yeah, I remember. You get your whole body laser.
No, not your whole body. You just get your entire face electrolyzed at once, because they normally don't do. When they do electrolysis, they'll do a postage stamp size patch, and that's $150, and you got to do that 3 times per patch. So I was in the process of that. Surgeries happened. Got kind of derailed on that, and I got to get back on it. But then
you took a very realistic approach to it. Yeah. You were able to do X amount towards the transition. A lot of that time and effort and money and spoons had to go toward the surgeries. Yeah. Totally expected. This, you know what? A close shave and some heavy makeup, you're good to go.
Masks have been lovely.
Talk to our listeners about masks while I get another beer.
Okay. Masks have been lovely for this time when I haven't been able to get that electrolysis that I really want. I have not been bothering to do makeup a lot of the time because I'm not going to work every day. I'm working from home still. And so wearing a mask in public, one, recommended by the CDC. Just do it. It shouldn't be politicized. 2, helps hide the fact that you might have some still errant secondary sexual characteristics from the old assigned gender. Not all of us got to transition as children. If you did, awesome, good for you. I did not. But yeah, so it's been a mixed bag, and I'm sure it's been a mixed bag for all of y'all. A lot going on, but
we have a question.
Yes.
I lied. We don't have a question. We have a Reddit post I saw that was really interesting, and I wanted to talk about it. And interestingly, it focuses on the transmasculine friends and fans that we have, but can be flipped, as usual, for the trans women. And here it is. This is about accidental affirmation. And I will provide a link to the Reddit post if it's still there. This is a little while ago. But the phenomenon we're talking about is when trans males online are assumed to be trans women. So whenever it comes out online, this is the author, whenever it comes out online that I'm trans, I'm always assumed to be trans female. This happens to a lot of trans guys. For some of them, and in my opinion, this is really douchey, this is an affirming experience. Because we're told we'll never be women. And that feels great. But what we have to realize is that the intent of those people is to hurt a trans woman. And that feels awful. So what's really weird is when this author tells them, I'm trans masculine, and they still insist I'm a trans woman. So we're talking about accidental affirmation. And Faith, I guess my question for you is, have you ever encountered that?
I have not. And I think I haven't because, again, I think what the author is saying is that I'm assumed to be a trans woman. Trans women tend to get a lot more visibility in the community, in society at large. And I think...
Why?
I think the biggest reason for that is that it is more of a subversion of status. And I disagree with all of what this status is.
Obviously.
I disagree with the idea that there should be status amongst genders, etc. But the idea that if a man, someone who is a man, decides to become a woman, he is lowering his status. Okay? And intentionally inflicting harm upon himself and his social status, and is thus becoming subject to ridicule. Whereas a woman seeking to become a man is seeking to elevate her status, and that works more within the normal range of aspiration.
Because, of course, who wouldn't do such a thing?
Because, one, men are naturally better than women.
Superior in every way.
Yeah, and it is natural, so it should be. And two, it's natural that one should always want to elevate one's status, and that one gender should always be elevated above the other. It's all stupid patriarchal bullshit. It's this idea that men run society and women are these vessels of pleasure / child rearing. And it's all fucked up. It's a bunch of fucked up patriarchy and toxic. I don't want to say toxic maybe toxic masculinity. Maybe it's all just wrapped up in the patriarchy. But it's this idea that masculine is the standard
and superior,
and to deviate from that opens oneself to ridicule and hence attention. So I think that is partly why. I remember growing up, like Sally Jesse Raphael or Geraldo or any of those trashy talk shows would always have trans women on. They wouldn't have trans men on because you can't really gawk at them quite as much. And again, I'm saying this from from like society's point of view. I disagree with all of this. I think it's stupid. I think it should be a free society where you can be whatever the fuck gender you want to be. No matter what. You should be able to change it daily or do whatever or make up your own genders or have freedom. Freedom in a free society. What a fucking concept.
Everyone should be they, and we should just not even care about it.
Or just do whatever the fuck you want. We can care about it. It should be like wearing red shirts. Or blue shirts. Everyone can do it whenever. It's no big deal.
You can wear both.
Yeah. Gender and presentation and whatever should be whatever we all want, whenever we want it. There shouldn't be these rules and rigidity to it. Okay. And so I can see that. So we're getting into why I think trans women are kind of seen more when you mention transgender people.
When you say trans, yeah.
Yeah, people tend to picture trans women. And again, I think that media attention, I think you get more attention from being the man who becomes a beautiful woman as well, because women are sort of prized in our society for beauty. And so when a man can be beautiful, it's also something interesting to look at and gawk at. And when a woman wants to become frumpier,
masculine,
it's not.
Have you never seen a beautiful man?
No, there's plenty of beautiful men out there, and there's plenty of like classy guys. But like a woman dressing down is not as. I'm saying from society's point of view, is not as like raucous as a man who can present as a beautiful woman, right? And so
it doesn't shake the foundations of
exactly.
Our culture.
There you go. And I think trans women get a lot more attention because they're shaking that foundation of our culture. I think they also tend to make, trans women, because a lot of guys are uncomfortable with their own selves, tend to get a little weird about feeling an attraction to a trans woman. And I don't know if it's even a lot of guys. I don't know. I think that's the perception. But I think that's also another thing. It's something to be feared. It's mysterious. It's dangerous. It's worth looking at. And when I say looking at, I mean gawking at. Because people aren't looking respectfully when I talk about this sort of thing. They're looking because it's a train wreck to them. And in their perception and in this patriarchal male gaze, right?
Because this defies what we have all been taught.
Yeah.
Which is it is desirable to be male and to be able to objectify the female. And for someone to change themselves from male to female makes all those value judgments flip upside down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's more to it than... More to them, again, this is to them, this is in that male gaze that I disagree with, that a woman who someone assigned female at birth, we're using a lot of loaded language here, but someone who's assigned female at birth who presents male is like less of a flipping expectations on their head,
right,
than a person who's assigned male at birth who presents female.
In a way, they're falling in line by this very bullshit patriarchal status. So this is area we've tread before, and I guess my question is whether or not trans guys get to take pleasure in this. Personally, I think for a trans guy to hear, "You'll never be a real woman. You're not a woman. Women are born. You're not a woman." For them to hear that, even though the person is trying to be hurtful and trying to be dismissive, a bad person made a bad assumption. Two wrongs made a right. Two lefts made a right. I feel like, yay. Take pleasure in that.
Yeah.
Like, why not?
I think just because someone's trying to be mean doesn't mean you have to be upset about it. Yeah, two wrongs make a right. I think this is the ultimate case of two wrongs make a right.
Take that joy.
Someone is trying to hurt a trans woman's feeling, and then in that they validate you. That's awesome.
Yeah. I would like all trans men to absorb all of those attacks. Actually, that works out super well for both trans women and trans men.
Yeah. I think just because someone is coming at you with hurtful stuff, like, yeah, enjoy that. That's awesome. You don't have to be hurt just because they're being hurtful. I think it's also a fun opportunity if you want. You don't have to engage with these losers, but if you want to, you can turn it around on them and show them that they don't know what the fuck they're talking about. And that's awesome.
Then you'll just confuse them and they don't react well to that.
Yeah, but I'm just saying you can turn it on their head and be like, oh, guess what?
Thank you.
Not only are you a jerk, you're wrong.
Yeah.
Which is great.
But then it's like, let me correct you so that you can insult me with more accuracy.
Oh, there you go.
This reminds me of that joke, which is like a 4-panel cartoon. It's like a real man drives stick shift. You're not a real man unless you drive stick shift. You're not a real man unless you take your steak rare. You're not a real man unless you drink whiskey. And then a trans person comes along and they're like, you're a man, you know?
Yeah, no, that was something I remember. It was like, I think it was, what was her name? The trans comedian, Avery. She's Canadian. She's a trans woman. She's a comedian. It's Avery something.
We'll look her up and
she's on Twitter.
In the...
if you remember it, please email us. But she had a funny thing on Twitter once that I remember, which was like, back in junior high, you guys used to make fun of me for being a girl and running like a girl, and you used to like beat me up in junior high and call me a girl. Now I transition and suddenly you guys make fun of me for being a man. Like, can you please make up your mind?
Just pick one.
Yeah.
There is one comment on this Reddit post that was really funny that said, cis people bitching about trans people seeing gynecologists. So think about that for a second. This trans person has seen a gynecologist, and an uninformed cisgender person online is complaining about that. And one of their things is, people with penises don't need gynecologists. And like, yeah, lady, we know. We see gynecologists when we have vaginas. We are very aware and very cognizant of our genitals and what they need.
I also think these people, and again, I feel like this is a problem in our country right now, and probably the world, is that like there's just a kind of poor communication and a lot of bad ideas floating around. But like this idea that some people think that like trans women are showing up at the gynecologist and like going out of their way to make an appointment, to like book an appointment, which is a pain in the ass anyway.
Yeah, and takes forever.
And takes forever.
And you gotta find someone in your plan.
Yeah, and you gotta find someone in your health insurance.
If you have health insurance.
Yeah, and you're gonna make an appointment to go to a gynecologist and go prop your feet up in the stirrups, and then just sit there with your wang hanging out.
Because you are a woman, goddammit.
And you think the doctor's going to do anything other than go like, what? No, I can't see you. We're not...
Any pain recently?
We're trans. We're not delusional.
That's the thing.
You know, I know you think we're delusional, but we're not.
We're
and again,
sort of
if I'm
advanced level gendering here, we know exactly what kind of doctors we need to talk to, and we're talking to them already.
Yeah. And I think it's like that idea. It's like, even if I were delusional, I seem to have convinced a lot of medical personnel to help me on this journey.
So I'm a pretty good delusional trans woman.
Yeah.
I feel like there's like one or two Tumblr, Twitter, activist types, trans women who have demanded care from a gynecologist or give me a pap smear or something like that. Women who I believe were post-op. Do you need to get pap smears?
I actually asked my surgeon about this, and she said no, because I'm seeing her once a year for the rest of my life.
So she's taking care of.
So she's kind of taking care of whatever's going on there. Okay. So I don't have to.
So I feel like there have been, provocateurs, and of course they make all the headlines that show up for conservative people.
I think some post-op trans women surgeons may tell them to go to a gynecologist. Because I've read about people who have. And I've also read that there have been... I remember reading a trans woman's blog post once, and she was talking about being at the gynecologist, and the gynecologist being very confused because she had a prostate.
What is happening down here?
And was like, you had a phallus? And she was like, yes. And I had, like, wait, what?
How far back in the story do I need to go?
Did you have a surgery? And she's like, yes. And like, who with? And like, this person. And they did this? And they're like, yes. I mean, I've had this situation where I've had to sit there and like go to medical people and like be like, yes, I'm taking estrogen. Why? Because I'm transgender. And like, oh, but for skincare or like.
So you're on some hormones.
Yeah.
You've been on them for a while, but you're not in menopause.
Or the ER with the emergency room, and they're like, just pee in the cup. I guarantee you I am not pregnant. And they're like, it says F on the form. I have to do it.
Yeah.
And you're like, fine.
You're going to waste a pregnancy test, but here we go.
Because, I mean, again, it's from the nurse's point of view. It's like, it says F on the form. I have to do it.
She's got to do her job.
Yeah. And so I think that does happen. I don't think, this idea that, like, delusional trans people are, like, going into, wasting medical care, wasting medical resources to, like, you know what happens when you go into that situation? They're not gonna, medical personnel don't humor you.
Yeah.
Like, this isn't the American Doll store where they're gonna be like, oh yeah, come in, or what, I don't know, whatever.
Yeah.
But like, they're gonna be like, no thank you, please leave.
Don't forget to pay your copay, by the way.
Yeah, this isn't a salon where they're going to be like, you want a manicure? Fine. You know, they're going to be like, no, thank you. Please leave. It's a $25 copay.
Unless it's your whole job. Nobody really wants to pull stunts at the doctor's office.
No.
It's not fun. They're not into it.
You know,
they're actually really busy.
I saw a really shitty right-wing YouTuber. Mm-hmm. I'm not even going to name her. She's Canadian and she's a shit. She's a hoser. A fucking hoser. Because if you're going to insult Canadians, you got to do it right.
Hoser, take off.
Fucking hoser. I know. This fucking hoser can take right off.
Yeah.
She was like, I'm going to go in and get myself declared male via the Canadian, like, driver's license thing. And she went in and was like, I identify male and got male on her thing and then was like, see how easy it is to be transgender? And I'm like, great, via lying. Great. Via lying, you took advantage of a program to help people.
And now...
Congratulations, you goddamn hoser.
And now...
I'm not going to say her name.
No,
because I don't want people to even go to her video.
But now she has a federal document. That's a fucking lie.
I know. Like, wow. Congratulations, you committed fraud.
Well done. Nice for you to post a video for the Mounties to find. Well done.
I just thought it was so funny that because her point was like, look how easy it is to change your gender in Canada. And I'm like, via multiple lies on official forms.
And
like
generations of trans people fighting for that. Yeah. Way to go! We did accomplish a thing.
Yeah.
And you are able to fake it by lying. Well done,
Take
Brainiac.
Off, you hoser.
Take off, hoser.
Yeah, so I think the important thing is if you can take joy when people are being terrible, and it sounds like this poster is talking about people being terrible and transphobic and ignorant. Mm-hmm. If you can take joy in that, and you can find your moment of joy in that, that's awesome.
Also, you're using up their time and energy. Think about it kind of like those scam baiters. Like people who will get some scammy, oh, your computer has a virus on it, call or something like that, and then they just keep them on the line for 4 hours. Cool.
Yeah.
You have kept 9 other people from getting hit with this bullshit. Do it.
I have wondered.
Consume this.
I have wondered, because I've occasionally gotten transphobic comments on my Instagram, and I want to be like, why are you fucking on my Instagram? Like, you had to seek out.
Yeah.
You had to, you like search it, because I stopped even using trans hashtags. Mm-hmm. Like, you have to go out of your way to fucking find me to post transphobic comments. Fantastic, great. I'm just going to block you.
I congratulate them for the hard work.
Yeah. I'm just going to block/report you.
Well done.
But it's like, it's still hilarious.
That's
it's
a great use of your time.
Yeah, I'm like, who are these people who have so much time and effort, or so much time and energy in their daily life that they're like, you know what? I got 30 minutes until my chicken is done. I guess I'm going to just go harass some people.
All right. So my final question for you before we wrap up the episode is, how can trans women get to take advantage of this? Now, I'm thinking again about how can you trigger assholes into saying, you're not a real man. You'll never be a real man. I don't think you're really a man. Maybe better check your vagina. ma'am. Like, how can you get assholes to think they're insulting you? They get to work out that energy. You get secretly affirmed. Do you go to, like, message boards full of, I don't know what manhood is, full of stick shift drivers and whiskey drinkers and say, I don't drink whiskey and I can only drive automatic.
I can say I can drive stick and I can do it looking fabulous. So I don't know. I actually don't know because I think as that societal issue we talked about, it's like when you say trans stuff,
it's
people are going to assume.
Yeah, there's too much other stuff going on for them to say, you'll never be a real man, even though it would be great to hear.
So I'm usually putting, if I'm posting online, I'm putting some effort into my appearance.
Yeah.
Granted, like right now, I'm, not putting any effort into my appearance.
No,
I feel like I feel like I'm a little sloppy. I don't even know what gender I
These leaves in our dog's
I
mouth.
don't even know what gender I look like right now.
You look like a beautiful lady.
I hope so, but yeah.
With some stubble.
Yeah, so I could probably try to post on some sort of masculine rate me hot or not type thing.
Or like, are you bro enough or something?
Yeah, are you bro enough.com.
And then you fail a bunch.
And then you fail, yeah.
Alright. I could find that for you.
Or I could post on like Tinder as like a guy and have girls be like, you're way too feminine. You look like a girl.
Except
that's how they talk.
I don't know if they would do that. I feel like they'd be like,
they probably just swipe right.
Awesome to hang out with.
No one's. I don't even know on Tinder if you can even like comment. But
is swiping right the one that's like, I don't want to hang out?
I think left because the goats go to Jesus' left and the sheep are on his right.
I don't know if Mr.
That
Tinder
is how
had
they.
that in mind.
No, that's 100% what they had in mind.
People who've used Tinder, let us know. We have no fucking clue.
I don't think you can I don't think on Tinder you can swipe left, goat. And then it's from the Bible, people.
Wait, my left or Jesus' left? Because Jesus is looking at me all the time.
I guess they're sheep then. It's in the Bible. Read your Bible.
Don't.
Or you
really
burn
don't.
in hell.
No, don't.
You're going to burn in hell for eternity.
Neither of those things are true.
You're going to burn in hell for 7 months.
It's going to be very uncomfortable.
It's actually a bad translation. And then you're fine. You can go to Florida. There's a water slide. It's great.
Florida's not great either. That is.
It's not great. Hell. It's not as good as heaven, but it's
different kind of hell.
There's barbecue restaurants and
water slides.
Water slides and stuff. It's okay. It's not as good as heaven, but it's fine.
It's fine.
And so on Tinder, I don't think you can pause and comment why you're not clicking on this person. Provide negative feedback. Who will do that? What a jerk. You look like a hoser. No.
You just want people to tell you, you're not a real man. You'll never be a real man.
I guess I could try out for a sports team.
You ever were a real man.
I could try out for the Philadelphia Eagles.
Okay. Eagles fans are notoriously Eagle
fanny. No,
They're not great.
I went to school with a girl named Eagle Fanny. I also worked with a scientist who studied eagle fanny. Scottish scientist. What do you study? I said eagle fanny. Try to make sure it's a cloaca. We call them eagle fanny.
You're so weird.
It's their word for vagina.
I know it's their word for vagina.
Scottish people, not eagles.
Brits too.
Yeah. So I feel like I could try. No. I feel like I could also go. You could also go to an army recruiter. And they would be like, no, you are definitely not man enough for this army.
Okay, you know how it is to be a military recruiter.
They'd probably just be like, fine, right?
You're fine. You're great. They love you. Yes.
Could always use more cannon fodder.
You'll get all the hormones or all the blah or whatever you want, whatever you need. They'll give it to you. Yep. Because they have quotas and they are able to lie to you. Mm-hmm. Please don't ask a military recruiter because you're going to wind up in the Marines. I know you. You're going to go hardcore.
I'm too old for the army now. They won't take me.
You can't get drafted.
Can't get drafted.
Also, you a lady.
Yeah.
Ladies don't get drafted. If you get drafted, you get pregnant. Do you understand? We'll figure it out.
Oh, we're fine, yeah.
Yeah. Y'all, thanks for listening to this wacky episode. If you have your own secret ways of getting accidental affirmation, we would love to hear it, because every little bit helps, and if it uses up the gas in the tanks of haters and homophobes and transphobes, so much the better.
Yeah. Thank you, everyone, for listening. We'll be coming at you with some more episodes.
We promise.
Yep.
Do you promise?
Yeah, we'll definitely come at you with more episodes.
Say the words.
I promise we'll come at you with more episodes of Gender Rebels, everyone's favorite gender rebel-related podcast.
Thanks for listening, everybody.
All right, everybody.
Talk to you next time.
Bye.
Bye-bye. If you've enjoyed this episode and want to help us keep making great content, go to patreon.com/genderrebels.
Please leave a 5-star review on iTunes.
And send your questions to questions@genderrebels.com.
Music for the Gender Rebels is by Jasper the Colossal. Link down below or download them on iTunes.
For all our episodes, visit genderrebels.com.
Gender Rebels is a Comeback Sync production. Copyright 2020, all rights reserved.
And to all you gender rebels out there,
keep rebelling! But yeah, so it's been a mixed bag, and I'm sure it's been a mixed bag for all of y'all. A lot going on, but masks.
We'll have them at least through May 2021. That's my prediction.
I think, yeah, Kath predicts May 2021 for masks. I think a lot of people, I'm glad that they're wearing masks. Also, do you guys remember the old mask toys? They were like not G.I. Joe size. They were like half the size of G.I. Joe's. But like the car would turn into a submarine, except it would not really turn into a submarine. It was actually kind of crappy. Like you would like turn the tires and like a fin would come out the back. And like you'd be like, it's a submarine, and it's like, no, it's really a car with a fin.
Wait,
they're like
Jim Carrey?
No, Mask. It was Mobile Armored Strike Command with a K. It was a series of toys in the 80s, and like the 80s, I'm sure there was a 30-minute cartoon TV show for the advertising of the toys. I never watched it. I never had any Mask toys. I just remember they seemed really cool, but I never had any. Because when you were a kid growing up in the 80s, you had to work within your scale. And you couldn't have toys with too many scales. I had Star Wars toys. I started with that, 3 1/4-inch action figures. So I had to transition that to G.I. Joe. Same size, the vehicles still worked. If I'd have gone to Mask, suddenly they're half the size. The vehicles don't work. Nothing's to the right scale. You can't do that.
Can't combine them.
If you had already started with Mask, then you could probably include some Dino Riders in that. Same scale. Right? But
links to all of these will be in the show notes.
We're not going to include links to all of these.
I'm going to include links to every single one of those.
Okay.
But we have a question.
Yes.
I lied. We don't have a question. We have a Reddit post I saw that was really interesting, and I wanted to talk about it. And interestingly, it focuses on the transmasculine friends and